Welcome back, everybody, to Two Guys and a Stack of Comics. My name is Reed. Along with me, as always, is Mike, and we also have our special guest today, Mike's son, Jax. Mike and Jax, how you guys doing?
We're doing okay.
Doing good. Not too good after playing too much to Suicide Squad, but you know.
Yeah, no, I understood you played that. I did a watch through of it myself to kind of make sure I had all the context. This has been blown up online with a lot of critiques of it and a lot of people defending it, and more critiques than defense I've seen.
Yeah.
But overall, what we wanted to kind of attack this from is more just the storyline elements. We'll talk a little bit of gameplay. Jack's definitely will be interested in getting your opinion on how the game actually plays.
Yeah.
I know there's been some controversy with it being like a live service game where it's online all the time, as opposed to like the traditional video game. But mainly, we wanted to talk about the story on this. And
Yeah.
so, Jax, I know you've actually gotten to play through. I've watched, but you've played through. What impressions do you kind of have of the overall storyline of the video game?
So I haven't finished it, but I got through most of it, and from my understanding, all the Justice League deaths they don't get undone at the end, like that just
Yeah,
happens.
no, yeah, I've seen that has not been undone. Yeah,
Yeah, so I know all I have left is like the last like few missions where you beat Brainiac. So yeah, I've got to the point where I've killed all the Justice League. Me and my friend played through all of it. Like we had fun with the gameplay. That and like there were some scenes that were kind of funny, and that was it. The story itself has like no redeeming qualities as far as like actual good like quality story writing. And that's mainly just because of like all like the plot holes. How like this Suicide Squad like don't die when they clearly should. Like they have that close encounter with Green Lantern at the beginning. He doesn't kill them. They have a close encounter with Batman where he kills the security guards at the Batman museum. But while they're in the museum, he takes them out. He just knocks them out and doesn't kill them immediately.
So why would he kill the security guard? This is Brainiac Batman. So his brain is in kill mode.
Yeah. So I
He
mean,
kills the security guards, but he doesn't kill the Suicide Squad.
well, no, I believe in the story he's also killed Robin as well.
yeah, he's killed Robin too, and yeah, the entire story is like this is like the worst like DC story I've ever experienced in my life. Worse than anything from the DCEU.
Just
Because at
saying
least
something.
yeah, the DCEU, at least the Justice League, like they tried a little bit in some areas. This like no characters are shown like respect. The closest thing they have to showing the characters like respect is like in the so there's like the Hall of Justice where we see like the characters introduce themselves and like the holograms
Mhm.
to see kind of like their backstory. You could see, okay, these might actually be good adaptations of these characters, and then you kill them. And then like after each character, like Lois Lane does like a broadcast honoring each one, and like sure, like those like little scenes respect the characters, but not enough to undo the disrespect done by just killing them as the Suicide Squad just with guns. You shoot each of them to death, and that's the whole thing with.
Yeah, so I think for me the biggest parts that I have a huge issue with. One is, of course, the game being called "Killed the Justice League." I'm not surprised you have to, kill the
Yeah.
Justice League. However, the fact that they decided to set this in the Arkham universe is probably my
Yeah.
biggest complaint. In that, if you're going to take me to a random universe of unattached characters that we've never met before, I'm still not going to like it, but I'll be okay with it. When you put this in the Arkham universe, where let's face it, if you played those games, and I'm not a big video gamer, but I played all those games through. I think each game's probably 20 hours. You have probably played 100 hours as this version of Batman in a video game. And their decision with him to continue that story was, let's turn him into a murderer who kills cops, kills his own son, and then you'll shoot him in the head on a park bench because that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
I think the other portion of it where it's just poor storytelling, and again, yes, video games, every character has plot armor in video games, but the Justice League for me, the biggest reason this is a stupid game, if a corrupted version of the Flash exists, if a corrupted version of Superman exists, and corrupted to where they're willing to kill, like just random security guards and things, where there's not a conflict, where they're not Harley Quinn, Boomerang, Deadshot, and Killer Shark are dead or King Shark, whatever he is. He's dead in about 5 seconds. The
Yeah.
Flash can literally run through the speed of like sound, like break time barriers.
Speed
If
of
the
light.
Flash wants to kill Captain Boomerang, he he would largely do that very easily.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's like so weird because like he managed to kill Lex Luthor in like 1 second and he ripped his heart out, and then he wanted to kill the Suicide Squad just by running around them and like making a tornado that like sucks the air out and suffocates them, even though that takes way longer, which is why he didn't end up doing it. And then that gave him time to make anti-Speed Force stuff. They gave him a fighting chance. So, and like realistically, he would have just killed them already. Like it doesn't make any sense. And the whole part about being set in the Arkham universe is like definitely the main thing for me too, is to why like this I just like absolutely hate this story because I I have a lot of nostalgia for the Arkham games. I played them when I was like I started playing through those when I was in first grade, uh, and I thoroughly enjoyed each of them. And I even have like fun memories of like a few years ago where I went back and I played the ones that was like too stupid to finish when I was that young.
mhm. Yeah, no, I
Yeah, I
mean,
always had that lingering question in my head, like, I wonder what happened to Batman after Arkham Knight in this universe. And I was kind of excited, like maybe we're gonna find out in this game. And we found out, but was not the answer anyone was looking for.
yeah, no, and I think largely if you were going to do a game where you're going to kill the Justice League, you have to think of a better way than just they're going to shoot them to death. They're going to shoot the Flash to death. They're going to shoot Superman to death. I'm going to believe that these four very average criminals took down Batman, who's engaging them. Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I think if you would have put where like maybe the entire time the heroes were fighting against the programming that they had, and so like they were 50% in it, 50% not, you could. But no, they very much wanted, nope, at their peak, at their prime, going full bore, these guys kill the members of the Justice League. Um, just it's really, I mean, and there's so many things that they just mechanically, and we'll talk a bit about the disrespect here in a second, but like even just from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like they even did the slightest bit of research on some of these things. And that, the scene where Batman gets shot on a park bench by Harley Quinn, she shoots him with a revolver that somehow ejects a casing, which, if you've ever fired a revolver in your life, that does not happen. I'm kind of shocked that a multi-million-dollar video game put together would have no one have any ability to go, hey, that doesn't actually happen. Uh, the Green Lantern ring that they, obviously they kill Green Lantern. They break his finger off and take the ring. The ring always in comic books flies and chooses its new person. Instead, they're able to force it on their hand. And I know it was done for humor. But again, if you're going to write a DC comic story, I don't know, maybe take 5 seconds and read through how Green Lantern rings work and things like that. And again, I think that was a funnier cut scene they had with Shark getting the ring and all that. But um,
Did the
just
ring fit on his flipper? Did he have a?
No, if he had to like squeeze it onto his pinky because his fingers were so big. Like,
Oh, he has fingers. Okay.
yeah.
well, then you throw in the Superman murders Wonder Woman, who of course is the only villain, a hero who did not go bad.
It was just the level of disrespect for every character.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just stupidity mixed with the disrespect. Superman is going to heat vision and kill Wonder Woman. Look at the Suicide Squad, who he should hate more than them, and fly away, because that's how that would work.
Yeah, and like I thought it was at least it was like I thought it was at least somewhat of an interesting concept to see how Wonder Woman was like the last surviving one, and she had to slowly accept that there was no other way that she had to kill them, and she thought that she had dealt the killing blow to Superman. Like there was like some interesting story beats, but then I feel like they just really didn't do anything significant with it, and they just wasted it completely. And
Well, my
like,
problem with Wonder Woman, and we'll talk about the disrespect of it. There's part of me that would have respected if they'd actually had where you're going to kill all the members of the Justice League. But you can tell they didn't want to go Wonder Woman because they didn't want to deal with the controversy of, violence against Wonder Woman. So they were okay with humiliating Green Lantern, okay with humiliating the Flash, okay with humiliating Batman, okay with humiliating Superman. And we'll talk in detail about how some of them died. But with Wonder Woman, it was like, nah, we don't want that kind of controversy.
yeah, and like still,
Give
even what they
them-
did, they probably weren't intending to, but even what they did, that already was humiliating. The way she just died fighting Superman, and like with
Well, no,
and
and when you have
it's
a
like,
Superman who can kill Wonder Woman that easily, how easily is he going to kill these other characters? I
yeah,
mean, if Superman can just literally stare at Wonder Woman, and no matter how much Wonder Woman has prepared, gotten ready, kryptonite, all of that, she stabbed him with a huge shard of kryptonite in his chest, and he can literally just throw her to the ground and burn her. But I then need to buy that he can't kill Harley Quinn.
Because like, oh no, they have gold kryptonite, so they can fight him.
Like just poorly done. And then we'll talk a little bit here about the disrespect. So I'll kind of run through the details. Jax, just correct me if I'm wrong in any way, shape, or form.
No, they pee-peed on the Flash.
Yeah, Green Lantern gets killed with bullets. I believe he's the first one who dies.
No, the Flash was is the first one who
Okay,
got
so we'll go Flash. The Flash.
Why is it always the Flash that
Well,
gets
no, the Flash has gotten a lot of disrespect in like that awful movie they gave, and then the Injustice animated movie they did. He falls in a hole and dies. Like, I don't know why they don't like the Flash, but in this game, yes, the Flash,
You're breaking my heart.
a corrupted Barry Allen who can move at the speed of sound or faster than that, is killed with bullets. And then, as he's dead, they decide to urinate on his corpse and make jokes about how big Captain Boomerang is well endowed at that time instead of anything. Then Green Lantern shows up. He is killed with bullets because, yeah, that's how that would work. And then his finger is ripped off and the ring goes to King Shark. And then there's a whole little joke about that. Batman is somehow subdued in his own Batcave that somehow the Suicide Squad was able to break into. And then even with fear gas and enhanced and everything, they are able to defeat Batman with bullets, of course.
Yeah.
Batman would not be prepared for that.
It's the figures actually like it almost like it's like it made him weaker because he's just one huge target like Scarecrow is in like the Arkham, and you're just shooting at him and he's doing like giant attacks that are really slow and easy to dodge. And like
and then Batman is killed as bait to lure Superman, and then he is lectured by Harley Quinn about all the damage he's done, which in the Arkham universe, Harley is a murderer who I believe has killed children. So that's a little interesting as well. And then she shoots him through his bulletproof cowl in the head with a revolver that ejects a casing, but somehow that kills Batman. Also, Kevin Conroy's one of his last performances as Batman. So congratulations on that as well. Then Superman shows up, is stabbed with a chunk of kryptonite, and then ultimately killed with bullets, but gold kryptonite bullets as well. And he largely just dies without a cutscene and falls into a crater hole, and just
that's a weird thing. I think that's like with most of them. Like you just shoot him and then like it just cuts to a scene of them just like lying on the ground dead, like all damaged from the bullets that you shot him with.
Jackson and I have had a few conversations about this over the course of the week, and it'd be one thing like if this was an alternate universe, or if it was like the Mortal Kombat thing that they had where the plot line was secondary, tertiary, just to the combat, but to make a storyline like this with such disrespect, the more I think about it as the week drags on, the more it's just really heartbreaking that DC would give a green light to a video game that disrespects the characters that we love so much. There's got to be some redeeming qualities. Could they have built into the game where, Wonder Woman somehow was able to, affect Brainiac and, rescue her friends, and then they round up the Justice League where you couldn't win the game, but you had fun trying. But to just eliminate character after character, so nihilistic and just ugly, disrespectful, and
I think the hardest part of that is the disrespect piece. And look, it doesn't make me angry. There's things in life that are worth getting angry about. A video game is not one of them. Comic books is not one of them. But I really hate the disrespect piece of it. In that, one, this video game exists because of the work of legends who created these characters. Bill Finger and Bob Kane, Schuster and Siegel with Superman. I believe Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams with Jon Stewart, Carmine Infantino with The Flash. All these guys who created these icons, who the only reason any of these developers have a job is the work that these gentlemen did to create these characters who have been enduring, who have been lasting, who have had stories told about them for decades. And the gratitude that they show to those guys is, hey, we're literally going to kill your creation and have our characters pee on them. And that's how we're going to handle it. And my bigger problem with it is I understand there's adult stories and things like that, but The Flash, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, those are all marketed to kids. These are marketed as early as they're toddlers. They're on diapers, they're on kids' toys, they're on every single thing for any kid, whoever. So DC is clearly marketing all these heroes as these are heroes you should look up to. These are kids that, you know, role models for your kids. And yes, real life role models should be significantly more important than superheroes. But these are stories that have good morals and good things, and you should look up to them. Oh, here's the game where you get to nihilistically murder all of them. And you know, Mike and you and I did a video about we were worried about the public domain and about people doing disrespectful things in the public domain. The fact that I don't really care anymore about that anymore because DC Comics is more than willing to do it themselves. Um,
You just
and
got to kind of
unnecessarily,
wonder
the
the
weirdest
thought
thing to me is
process.
how easy this would have been to make this video game and have it be enjoyable. How about the Suicide Squad is sent to Earth 2 or Earth 3, and they have to take out the crime syndicate with Owlman and Ultraman and Superwoman.
Yeah. Or
And
they go to the Planet X or something and kill like the
yeah,
Nazi versions or something. I don't know, like
the,
do
the,
something.
the fact that they went, no, Arkham Batman. And that to me, that feels intentional. That
Yeah.
feels like, nope, we're putting a bullet in this one. You think you liked that character? No, no, no. We're literally going to shoot him in the head. And I just, that's the disrespect of that. It's not surprising anymore, though. And that it just, DC, this is them. I think what we've had happen is we used to get creatives who wanted to follow in the footsteps of the greats who created this. And their goal was, let's create characters who look like this or let's honor what's come before. We now seem to hire people who are like, nah, I want to tear it down. I want to tear it down. I don't, who cares about Bill Finger and Bob Kane? I'll do what I want to Batman. And I get to air my grievances. And that's what it feels like with this. Certainly is that it kind of felt like almost more of a malicious, like disrespect of we don't like these characters. And we'll have I think the scene that really I was like, dang, was they had Harley Quinn like lecturing Batman on the bench, and she's like, nope, it's our turn now, before shooting him in the head. It's just okay. And again, I'm not gonna muster up anger or do any of these stupid rage videos that you see these people do for drama on the internet. It's fine. It's a video game. It doesn't actually affect anything in my life. But it's just disappointing. It's just really
Really sad.
disappointing.
It's
Yeah.
really sad.
Yeah, and it's just it sucks like to know how much potential like this game had. Like Rocksteady is a great studio. I don't know. I know most of like the people that worked on the Arkham games have left by
Yeah.
now, but I still feel like if they were able to make the gameplay genuinely fun and they were able to make like the city of Metropolis like a genuinely like fun place to explore,
Mhm.
why couldn't they have put that same effort towards the story and made an actual good story?
You know, you
to
could have
explore?
like had a storyline where only Amanda Waller got taken over by Brainiac. And then she, commanded the Suicide Squad to go after the Justice League,
Yeah.
And, it could have been a team up game, where, they tried. But I don't
It
know.
more
Just,
seems like the disrespect was the point. I think that's the hard part of this is it seems like the disrespect was the actual point. And the whole thing is I can understand where a video game developer would come to DC Comics and go, here's the plot we have. The part that makes me mad is there's someone at Warner Brothers or DC somewhere, and I don't know what the role is, who sat there, saw the cutscene of let's urinate on the Flash and went, yes, publish this. Let's invest millions of dollars in this and publish it. Batman getting shot in the head. Yep, the Arkham Batman. Let's do that. And I think the biggest thing I'm tired of DC Comics, and again, I'll probably still keep buying the comic books, but this is a different level of anger I have, or not anger, just irritation with them. I'm so tired of like constantly with all these characters, you get these people who just don't like them, who you give these huge platforms to. And they're largely just using it to disrespect these creations who are the only reason they have a job. These folks only have a job because of the work of guys like Bill Finger and Bob Kane and Neil Adams and Danny O'Neill and the writers who created these guys. And instead of honoring that, it's like literally, how do I use this platform they've provided to essentially like disrespect what they did?
Yeah, and like a whole thing with that is like you can show a character has flaws, but you have to do it like tastefully. Like Batman Arkham Knight is for as many problems as that story had, like that whole thing Harley Quinn said, oh, you inflicted emotional like trauma and like tried to like you know like you frame herself as like she was in any like moral place to condemn
Like
Batman.
Batman.
We're like in Arkham Knight, like it shows Batman having to deal with that and face the repercussions of that. Saying like like face the fact that you know because of his failures, Joker messed with Jason Todd's mind
Yeah.
and tortured him, and he had to deal with that. And that's like that's the way that you handle like these characters making mistakes is you show an actual like good story where they actually face that and come to terms with it. You don't just like casually just like use it as a reason to disrespect them.
Yeah.
And it's like it's such like an easy concept to grasp. These writers should understand it.
Yeah, no, you would think. I mean, and again, I don't blame the writers of the game if they put the script forward. The people I hold responsible for it, it's not Rocksteady, it's not anyone else. There's someone at DC Comics who is in charge of holding these characters' legacies, who looked at this and said, "Yes, publish it." That's because this isn't some public domain thing that some shock jock idiot grabbed a hold of, and I'm going to make the most extreme, obscure thing I can. It wasn't that. Disney or Rocksteady and DC put multi-millions of dollars into this and saw a scene where we're going to urinate on Barry Allen and went, yes, publish it. Yes. This is what we want to show people. This is how we feel about. And it just, again, there's so many story beats that could have gotten out of this. You literally have so many different versions of these characters you could have used, villainous versions of these characters. You could have used the Injustice version of Superman in the Injustice universe where you've already established a corrupted one. Didn't want to do it, and I'm sure there were studio things they couldn't. But there's so many different versions they could have. The Justice Lords from the DC, what was it, Justice League cartoon? They had the episode where they all went bad. You could have done that, and it was like, nope. We wanted explicitly to be the Justice League, the Arkham universe, the ones you care about.
Do you really think that somebody at DC okayed it, or maybe that position is vacant because you know they're going through some turmoil?
Well, the thing is, whether someone approved it or not, if you're DC Comics, your name's on this. So someone somewhere had to.
Yeah.
I don't want to believe it, but I guess I have to.
And it's just also really disappointing knowing like what could have been like, you know, as good of a studio like Rocksteady is, like they could have made like a Justice League game, they could have made a Superman game, they could have made another Arkham game. They had plans for another Arkham game where you play as like Damian Wayne like years after
Yeah.
after Arkham Knight, where Bruce Wayne's retired. Like that sounded like a really cool concept, and they went with this, and so and I think part of it is because of the live service element, where it's like they can make much more money from this than they could from like just a single player game. They think, okay,
Yeah.
well, we're making a game, people will keep playing it. We'll add new content updates, and we'll add all these cosmetics, and people will keep buying it. Like I'm not gonna spend any more money on this than I already have, and like sure you can do a game like that. Like I'm fine with a live service game as long as like it's good. But the thing is, if people don't like this story, which most people don't, then they're not going to want to keep playing and keep buying your cosmetics to give you more money. So it's so
Well, and the whole thing is, let's say they even do a storyline where, because there's people, well, we don't know the ending yet. Okay, let's say you do bring them back. It doesn't undo this. Let's
yeah.
say you do some downloadable thing at the end where, oh, the Flash wasn't really dead. No, you still did this. You still did that. You don't get to undo this.
They'll probably try,
Yeah.
but this could be the death knell.
It's like also a really interesting thing that I heard is like James Gunn was asked like, do you plan on continuing the Arkhamverse? And he was like, yeah, there's no plans of this game being the last in the Arkhamverse. So it's like, well, you already ruined the Arkhamverse with this. So you either have to just ignore it or just make a dumb storyline where you're like, oh well, none of it actually happened, which is just
Well, that's the other part that they've asked James Gunn about this. I have to assume James Gunn has seen this, and that maybe he hasn't, but he sure as heck didn't go, "Oh, I'm not aware of that storyline." He sure as heck made it sound like it. So then again, the guy making DC films and in charge of the future of DC on film saw the, hey, let's urinate on the Flash and shoot Batman in the head on a park bench. Went, yes, publish that, yes.
and it's also really confusing because just like Rocksteady, like making good stuff in the past, James Gunn has directed some really good movies in the past. So it's just so confusing to see how he would approve of this. I guess because he might just not take games as seriously as the movies. I don't know, but
Well, and maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't know. Maybe he just saw gameplay of it. I can't assume that he saw everything. All I know is somewhere at DC Comics, someone who was there in charge of the licensing or whatever, nodded off on this and went, yes, That's good.
How were the sales going? Because we pre-ordered it, so we were stuck with it one way or the other.
You could have canceled. I was considering canceling it, using the money to buy Persona 3 Reload, which is like good game, but
Yeah. I
I
think,
wonder-
I mean, it'll be interesting. Sales numbers with video games, it takes months and months for them to tabulate how much it's going to be. There's a lot of pushback on online, but I think the hard part is there's always so much pushback on everything online. Everything becomes like a huge drama now that it's hard to tell what is or isn't successful.
Yeah,
And again, even if this becomes commercially, I have a hard time believing it will be a massive commercial success. It's just sad that this is where DC Comics feels about their characters. That this is
it really is.
where they are.
And I know there's a lot of bad press out there about it, but it's well deserved. And for a channel like ours, where we try and focus on the positive, this is one where there just wasn't a whole lot.
No, well, I think that's the hard thing is like I was trying to look at when I was.
But it
watching-
had to be addressed. We got to talk about it.
yeah.
Well, it's a primary thing, and I think it just builds into. And we'll probably do a part 2 on this to keep talking a little bit about DC and just their overall approach right now.
I want to pretend it never happened, just like the Flash movie.
No, it's really sad in that like I think the other thing I was telling my wife saw me watching it and I watched it and she finished and she's like, so what'd you think? And I got it's disappointing, but I'm not surprised. I'm just not even surprised anymore. This is
I guess I'm not either, Reed. I guess I'm really not.
Yeah.
DC just I don't know why it is.
They're just burning the house down.
Unlike Marvel, DC kind of just and there's other stuff out there's been doing the same thing, but DC kind of just has this like, we don't really care. And I just kind of close it out. I think it's just crazy that you would see some of the work that so many great people have done and go like, I'm just going to totally disrespect it and just, I have the ability to do so. It's just that. But we'll let you. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a bit. Let us know what you guys think down below. Have you seen the game? Have you seen any of the cutscenes? Let us know. Always interested in seeing that. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you in our next video.